Oh, yeah. Okay.
You can start. Well, you can see the objective of it.
Yeah, so the purpose of the second speech is for the member to share some aspect of the plan to implement her vision. All the best, Adeline.
Yeah. All the best. The speech title is The Letter Word. Please put the hands together for Adeline. Over to you, Adeline.
Can you think of a four-letter word starting with the letter F that most people would consider as a bad word? Well, I think we all know what it is. So shall we all say it out loud together on a count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Fail. That's right, fail. It's the dirtiest, most vulgar four-letter F word in the English language. Would you agree? Well, good afternoon, Mr. President and fellow Toastmasters. My name is Adeline Ng, and I enjoy failing. In fact, I try to fail every day, at least once. And the irony is, I usually succeed at it. But before I explain further, let me take you back to the beginning. The beginning where I absolutely hated failing. In fact, I swear that Singapore babies, when we are born, one of those first jabs that they give us is labeled better not fail. How many of you read about last week's PSLE math exam, where the kids cried and vomited because one question was very difficult? Well, you and I both know that some of the kids who cried and vomited actually got all the other questions correct, but they still cried and vomited. Why? Because for them, not getting 100% is as good as failing. And I understand that completely, because that was me. When I was in school, I remember this one time, maths exam, end of the year. The teacher came in and she said, oh, this year the top marks went to Adeline. And everyone clapped, and I went up in front of the class and took my exam paper and I looked at the score, 98.5%. So you know what I did, right? I flipped to where I lost the 1.5 marks. And then I went to the teacher and I said, why? I want those marks. And you know, it's completely irrelevant. But why? Because I was so allergic to failing. I was so allergic to failing that I would even actively avoid situations where I might fail. And I'll give you a classic example. Sports. So if you think about it, sports have a ridiculously high risk of failure. If you play a two-sided sport like tennis or soccer, your risk of failing is 1 in 2. But if you are a runner or a competitive swimmer, as I was, your risk of failing skyrockets to 7 in 8. So guess who gave up swimming? But as I went through life, I realized that I can't spend my whole life hiding from failure. In fact, life is a series of tests that were meant to fail. And I learned that the hard way. At 18, I failed to get into my first choice university. And I was crushed. I thought my future, my dreams, my plans, everything was gone. And even though I got into my second choice university, which was a good university, and I graduated top and I got a great job, I couldn't get over that sense of failing for over 7 years. Can you imagine 7 years for me to be able to accept that it was okay to fail? But when I finally did accept that, that was the first step in my 3-step transformation of my relationship with the F word. The first step was accepting failure. The second step was going beyond accepting failure and actually enjoying and seeking out failure. And it actually started when I entered the workforce and I realized an interesting correlation. And maybe some of you have also noticed it, that the interesting opportunities, the interesting experiences Even the interesting people that I wanted to work with and to hang out with, they tended to congregate around failure. Maybe you know what I mean. I mean, Elon Musk. So I found myself volunteering and opting for the more risky, the more cutting edge roles. And in fact, I remember this conversation with my HR director because I had applied for a role leading a new venture. And she sat me down and she said, you know, Adeline, I have to be honest with you. In this company, our track record of these kinds of new venture roles is not very high. You know, your chance of succeeding maybe 1 in 10. Are you sure you want to do it? What's the impact on your career if you fail? And I looked straight at her and I said, I would rather try and fail than not try at all. And that made me realize that my attitude towards risk, my attitude towards failure was so different from the company's. So 2 years ago, I left and became an entrepreneur. And now I get to do what I love doing every day. I get to fail. I get to fail at everything possible. So I get to fail at designing products that customers want. And we have iterated 3, 4, 5 times. I get to fail at pricing it right. I get to fail at hiring the right people for the team. In fact, I just fired our 4th marketing agency. I get to fail every day. And I can tell you that I've never felt as free, as fun, and as on fire as I have in the last 2 years. And that actually takes me to the 3rd step of my relationship with the F word, which is to simulate failure even when I don't fail. Yes, you're probably thinking, how effed up are you? So even when I don't fail, I actually stop and challenge myself and say, what opportunities for growth have I missed out on because I didn't fail? And let me give you a real life example. Let's say today, by some miracle, you vote for me and I become best speaker. How would I feel? What would I do? Well, I would be excited. I would be happy. I would even print out the virtual ribbon from you, Brahma. But that's it. But what if I didn't win? What if I failed? What would I do then? I would dwell on it. I would think about what I can do better. I would shake things up. I would try something different and I'll come back stronger. So if you don't want to see me here again, vote for me. But seriously, fellow Toastmasters, hopefully you can see why fail is so much more powerful than not fail. And hopefully after today, you will not see fail as a dirty 4-letter F word. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Adeline. Really, it was a great, mesmerizing speech. I like
You're
your.
Modi, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, now it is audible. Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Really, the speech was very nice. Now we will move to the second speaker. Second speaker is Ravi Shankar. His evaluator is Mati Gar. I request you to read the speech objective.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Marcus. And good evening, the Singapore Toastmaster clubs, and good afternoon, the Indian Toastmasters, and the distinguished guests, if any present. I am Madhyaragan, and I will go out on a limb today and evaluate Toastmaster Ravi Shankar Chandrasekhar, who will be attempting his level 1 part 1, which is titled as the icebreaker. The purpose of the projects are twofold: to introduce oneself to the club and to learn the basic structure of your speech. And his speech is titled as Hard Facts About Myself. And the timer, please note that the time limit is 4 to 6 minutes. We wish Toastmaster Ravi Shankar Chandrasekhar all the very best. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, thank you, speech evaluator. The second speech is from Effective Coaching Level 1 Project 1 Icebreaker Speeches. The speech title is It's Me. Please put your hand together for Ravi Shankar. Over to you, Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, a good note to the president and the and all the Toastmasters present here. My name is Ravi. This is my first speech in this Toastmasters Club. Well, I haven't really prepared a big speech like how Adeline did. It's going to be a more of an impromptu speech. So yeah, please bear with me if there are and fill-ups there. All right, so well, today I'm going to just introduce myself to everybody out here. So, yeah, I'm Ravi, and well, I'm a graduate. I work for a systems integrator. I joined the purpose of joining Toastmasters, of course, as like everybody, to improve myself. And for me, it's more of a my my current job really needs it right now because I'm getting bashed up by the customers on a day-to-day basis. I mean, bashed up meaning I'm getting beaten up by the customer on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, I mean, so just a quick a brief history. Well, I used to be a technical specialist. So I was in different capacities in a technical jobs earlier, and one fine morning I decided I should move into move to a management job. So this happened about 8-9 months back. So I took this job that I'm currently in. Well, yes, I mean, see, the reason I took this job is because it is it is even more tougher to manage brains than computers. Managing computers, it is anybody who who has the right skill set can do it. So I thought I should get into a management job. That gives me the kick, the kick per se as to I some kind of accomplishment, in my career. So I took this job, and in the course of about 3 months, I realized that the way I'm talking is pretty different from the way the other people in my job speaks. So I start to introspect myself, and I start to ask myself why when I talk, the customers just says, please don't go around the bush, Ravi. So I was thinking, why does the customer say please don't go around the bush? Because I give importance to every technical details, every small bits of nuts and bolts out there. But then but then I realized that as being a management person, you should you should actually explain things from a 30,000 feet level to the customer, and should not dwell into every single nuts and bolts of the proposal or project or whatever. So uh, so right now I'm trying to rewire my brain myself, rewire my brain as to how to speak from a 50,000 or a 30,000 feet angle, so that I can also partake with my other management colleagues, when they speak about something. That's one of the I would say agenda of myself joining Toastmasters Club. Like having impromptu speeches. When I have to talk to the customer, it is a very dynamic situation. I'm not I wouldn't know what the customer would probably say react, or how the customer reacts if I say something. So I need to quickly rewire my brain. I need to talk and because if for example I'll give you an example here. So the customer is asking me for something which my current company will not do, and I should if I say yes, it's a liability for the company. If I say no, I would be probably failing. The customer experience is at stake. So I should be in a gray area always. How is that? How is that going to be? How will I be in the gray area every time? And how should I project myself that I'm not in the gray area, but I'm trying to give you some help? Is what I'm trying to understand. And yeah, that's about me. And yep, I guess I'm done. Yes, that is about me. Thanks.
Thank you, Ravi Shankar. It was a great ice-breaking speech. we come to know about you. Now we can move to the second segment of the meeting. That is, before that, I request timer to tell his report. Is both speaker are qualified?
Okay, for first speaker, Adeline, she has spoken for 7 minutes, 12 seconds. For second speaker, Ravi, he has spoken for 4 minutes and 44 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Faith. Lim. Now I request everyone to please switch on your camera. We can take a group photo. Yeah, thank you. Now we can move to the second segment of the meeting, that is called impromptu speaking. The impromptu speaking is handled by Pragya, Hyderabad Toastmaster Club, India. He is conducting table topic on 7 tricks, table topic by District 79, table topic finalist. I request you to please unmute your microphone. Over to Pragya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Marutesh, and a very good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are joining me for this amazing session and something which I love doing, table topics. I'm sure a lot of you here must be thinking, how can somebody love table topics? We literally dread it more than our life. If somebody suddenly asks us to come and speak on unexpected topics. But today I am going to bring you down to my side with the ideas and the learnings which I have got from my experience. Before telling anything about it, you must know, who am I to speak here? Why would I listen to somebody named Pragya coming somewhere? What's the credibility that she holds on attempting table topics? So let me first tell you my credibility. So I have been the district semi-finalist for District 79 past year. And why I say past year is because it has been only 1 year of me in Toastmasters. I have joined last year, September. And the second part of credibility comes in that from the time when everybody was struggling with the pandemic from March 2020, I was struggling with table topics. That's when I started attempting my table topics, and I've tried almost more than 700 topics. So probably everything existing on this earth is something which I have put my hand into. A lot of stories and a lot of events over there. So I hope that makes me little credible on why I would speak on table topics over here today. Secondly, there is one request that I have from all of you is that I'm absolutely harmless. I do not bite people, and I would absolutely not jump into the camera and bring you out. So please switch on your cameras and participate as much as possible. Before going on the stage and contesting, you contest with yourself, you win in your mind, and you face your fears here by switching on the cameras and facing yourself. For men, if you have wives in the house, you can also keep a photo of them in front of you in case you wish to have a strong say on your fears. So let us start with the session today, and there are different segments on which I am going to focus for you to understand table topics. And the first segment is the most important one. That's what I take it as. That is here. One of my mentors once told me that if you would have decided that you are not going to win here, even if you are the best speaker in the world, the best impromptu person, you cannot win a contest. So first thing that we are going to do is a mindset change today. For the mindset change, I would ask you all to raise your hands for the people who believe that some point of time, at least for once, they have spoken on impromptu situations where you did not know anything about it before, but have done it. Okay, I see a raise of hands. For the people who are not raising their hands, I have another question. Have you ever been late in your house and given an explanation to your mom why you were late for a party? Have you ever been in front of a child who has asked you questions which you are not supposed to answer, a 7 or an 8-year-old, and you've created wonderful stories explaining where babies come from? Or have you ever been in a situation where your best friend asked you, can you give me your t-shirt? I really need it for a party. And you said, oh, I forgot that t-shirt is gone for the wash. I'm really sorry. I can't do it today. I can't give it to you. There are so many other real life situations that we come across where we don't even know that we are creating impromptu speeches. So the first mindset change needed is we all have done it. It is not something new, so we don't need to be scared considering it a new area. Second mindset change which is needed is how many of you believe that impromptu speaking is all about you given a topic, you talking on it, and finally delivering a speech for 2 minutes, you have to think everything that you know and speak in those 2 minutes. You can show with a raise of hands. And it has nothing to do with anything else. Anybody who would agree to it? No. Because few learnings which I got here was first, impromptu speaking has a strong connection to how much can you dig in, which means how deep are you ready to go into the chapters of your life and bring out stories for every single thing. Secondly, how keen attention do you pay to things? If you are somebody who knows everything happening around you, I trust you. You can create a story from a fan, from a light, from a table, from a pen, anything around you. And third, are you a good listener? Have you ever seen a young kid when they're busy playing with their video games, still you say, hey, there's a chocolate inside the fridge, and the kid would be like, where is it? That's how keen listener you should be, that whatever you are doing, you know what's going around in your world, whatever somebody is stating today in this meeting, whatever somebody has said, like the F word, I will remember this forever, I must say. I had never thought I could put it so beautifully in a Toastmaster meetings. So if you are a keen listener, you will always get stories. So always have these 3 mindset changes before you even want to get into table topics. Finally, there are so many techniques, so many things which people follow for table topics, but we will do it a little different way. I will first tell you a little bit about yourself and then give you the different techniques that you can use knowing who you are, because that is the second most important part of the learnings that I have got from all these table topics. So there are different types of speakers that I heard during this course. Some people would directly talk about numbers. 90% is this, 30% is that, 7 people did this, 10 people did that. The table topic will always have numbers, numbers, and numbers. And there are people who love numbers. So if you are someone from that particular type, keep your style in mind. I will come back why and where to use it. Then there are people who would always talk about stories, references, anecdotes, the things they have read in the books, the things they've seen in the TV, or something that has happened to their friends. They are reference-oriented people. They would always want to speak on a reference, and in case they don't get a reference to a table topic, they will feel, I really can't handle this particular topic. I don't have a reference to it, and I don't even know somebody who has gone through it. So you might be a reference-oriented person. Then the third type is pros and cons types. These people are just amazing. They would always tell you what is good about a particular thing and what is not so good about a particular thing. So anybody, and trust me, mothers can turn into pros and cons types very, very easily. And I've experienced that. One day I was asking one of my friends, do you think watching TV is good for kids? I couldn't even have imagined the number of things she told from the con side, but she forgot the pro side of it, which is there. So if you are somebody who always tries to weigh a particular thing or take a stand, you can say why global warming is bad, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, and these kind of things for every single topic, even for topics like, love. If you can tell what is a pros and a con of love, you are that type of a person. Then there are few people who would always wish to have humor. That's their life. They cannot go beyond humor. And these are amazing people, because I am somebody who struggles to get humor into their table topics, literally struggles. And when I'm anxious, humor goes for a toss for sure. So if you are a humor oriented person, you are doing amazing, and you can really focus on that particular forte of yours. Last but not the least, how many of you have had friends, whatever good you do, but that person is always going to go against you and say, hey, you could have done better, or probably this is not what you should have done. Even if you are wearing a pink dress, this person would come and say, is this an occasion to wear a pink outfit? Don't you think you should be wearing blue? They will always be against what you have to say, do, or talk about. In table topics, these people are the most dangerous and the most difficult ones, because they are the devil's advocate. They will always want to go against the topic and justify that whatever good you have done in life is worthless. Even if it is about honesty is the best policy, they will be so strong with their convictions that they will make you do something which is dishonest and convince you so amazingly that you can't even think of it. Right? So when you have understood that there are these different styles of people, I am sure you all can decide which category do you fall into. And the best way to do this particular thing is you can go on Google. Google is the god, for all these topics and everything across globe. You can go to Google, search out any topic, and the first thought that comes to your mind on any topic, try to note them down. Once you do this activity for 5 to 10 topics, you will be able to find out where my inclination is mostly. Why this is important is everybody has a different style of attempting topic. Like for me, I will always start with asking a question to the audience. And then I will immediately take back to a story or reference of my life. Whereas if you tell me to talk about numbers as to what is happening in global warming, what is happening in any other field or science, I would be zero at it. So once you have known your own style, try to master that particular style first. I am not saying that you cannot try other things, but try to master your style, because that is going to be your strength in every single topic. And a point of suggestion for each style, if you are a number-oriented person, you really need to read strongly as to what is happening around you to gather more numbers and make your points stronger. If you are a reference-oriented person, have a book or a notebook ready with you. Whenever you see a story around you, you can note it down. Soon you will have a repository of stories and references which you can go and use into your table topics. That's what I do. I have a repository of topics and events that has happened in my life. And if you say that I don't have events, trust me, go back to one of your days, see from morning 6 a.m. to night 10, at least you will find 3 stories every single day. If you are a pros and con oriented person, you are on the mercy of the table topic, that he gives you something which you can really speak on and is not playing a prank on you that particular day, right? So these are the different styles which you can focus on and always try to find your style. I see a question from Nirvare. Do you want to ask something?
Oh, no, sorry, no. I
No.
forgot to bring down the hand. Sorry. All right. Thank you.
No problem. That's what table topics does to all of us, right? We forget everything around there. No worries. Okay. So now, as we have understood that there are 2 different things which we need to understand. First, the mindsets change. And second, the style, which is mine own, unique. You have got the box where you wish to be. Now comes the different styles that we can use to attempt a table topic. Before going to the style, what we would do is that I will throw a topic at you. Somebody can take that topic and start speaking on it so that we have a more clear idea of what I will be telling you about. Okay, anybody up for a topic? Remember, the first mindset change is happening when you crush your fear and speak. Whatever you learn here is not going to make any difference if your love for fear is way above that. Who would want to come?
Can I?
Yeah. So Jyoti, your topic is an incident from your life which changed you. An incident from your life which changed you.
Okay. So this is a table topic and I have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So until 2018, I was working as a preschool teacher. And then somehow I was not enjoying because I was not growing much in that school. So I thought of changing the job first. But then I was not sure at that time if I want to continue that job anymore. So I decided to quit the job. So I quit that job in December 2018. And then it just happened suddenly that I was inquiring about some epic learning classes, the Bhagavad Gita classes in Singapore. And then from my friend, I came to know about the class, and then I checked about the timings and days. It suited me very well. I joined those classes. I'm still learning Bhagavad Gita. I'm still in those classes. And I think that decision has that decision has changed my life with my learning and with my decisions, everyday decisions. So I think that was a life-changing decision for me.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti. So as I was telling you, there are different styles which people follow. She took a cause and an effect thing. She had a cause because of which she left her job, and then she wanted to go back to learning the epic which was being taught. And that's where she felt that the effect of that epic learning and attending those sessions was great. Now, what do we have the style with this is cause and effect. So what you normally do is you will take any topic like I just gave to her, a life-changing scenario. You will first tell what was the cause. Now this cause can be divided into different things. For example, the cause of you getting into something, the cause of you getting out of something, the cause of you feeling a particular emotion, the cause of you taking a particular action. Why was it so necessary? Why was it done? What was the core behind it? And then you go back to telling the effect that particular change, that particular thing, action, emotion that you took had on you. Now with this, what you do is you are using an anecdote, a personal story where people can directly relate to you because you are telling them that this was the problem which I was facing. This was the reason of the problem and this was the effect of the problem. Now, when we go to standard Toastmasters styles, there are very easy styles which are, for the starters, for somebody who is attempting topics for the first time. And then they go and become difficult step by step. So if you are somebody who's extremely new to Toastmasters and table topics, the most simple style is called prep, which means a point, reasoning for that point, right? An example for that thing, and again, getting back to a point. So for example, I give you a topic, trust is meant to be broken. How would I speak on that if I have to apply a prep method? Can somebody attempt this? So we have a request from Brahmakumar. Brahmakumar, you're there? So Ramanpreet, what you have to do is, your topic is trust is meant to be broken. And the way you have to speak is PREP. You have to tell a point why you believe in it or you don't. You have to give a reasoning of it. You have to give an example where your trust was broken or what was the impact of it. And you have to again sum up with a point. Can you try this method?
Yeah, I'll try.
Great.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Trusts are meant to be broken. I do not believe in this sentence because trust is something which is meant to be kept in any case. And we as Toastmasters, we have integrity as one of our core principles. Even though when we see our lives outside Toastmasters, we are human beings and a human is judged by his or her integrity. So trust is something which needs to be kept at all times because that defines you. That is who you are. That defines your personality. That defines you as a person. I very proudly introduce myself as mother of two lovely angels. And I do not, although I'm a chartered accountant by profession and a Toastmaster and Kathak dancer by passion, but I very honestly introduce and feel proud of being introduced as a mother to my two lovely angels. Now, why that favorite introduction of mine? Because I feel that the trust a child has in his or her mother is the best example of trust, because a child is somebody who blindly trusts his or her mother, even though the child does not know the meaning of trust. When my children come to me, they know they can always rely on me. They know they can always have trust on me, and they know that their trust will never be broken. So trust is something which is meant to be kept and should be kept, because that is what makes us the best human emotion that we can give to anyone, and more than that, with which we can define ourselves. Thank you. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Ramanpreet. So did you all see what she did? She first convinced us with our point that I do not believe that trust is meant to be broken. Then she gave a reasoning and an example together where she said that her favorite form of trust is being a mother, and she gave a reasoning that that is the most pure form of trust, even to the kids who do not know what trust means, but they do it. And again, she came back to the point, reiterating it, kind of embarking it into us that no, trust is not meant to be broken. To this similar format, we have another style in Toastmasters, which is quite similar to this and is told as Oreo. So Oreo basically means opinion, reasoning, example, and opinion back. Right? What is the difference between prep and opinion as I understood it? In prep format, you have a point to put, which might not be a very strong opinion which you are telling. It can just be a casual point of interest to everyone. Whereas if you are using Oreo as a method, you have a very strong conviction and point towards that particular subject, and you come with a very strong opinion. So for example, if I give a topic to say, who's there in line? Ilan Govan. So if I give a topic to you and say that love is unfair, and you have to use an Oreo method, which means you have to come out with a strong opinion, clear, strong opinion on the subject. Love is unfair.
They say it's always fair in love and war. No, it cannot be true. Yes, really speaking, love is unfair. When I was studying in my college, we 4 of us and 2 girls, we were a team, 6 of us were a team, and we took an oath that we will not break this friendship, oath of friendship, because we had seen many such groups in our college getting disintegrated because of this love affairs between these friends. And most of us, all of us rather, held on to the oath so strongly. One of my own friends was studying in another college. He left the college and came and joined us for the very sake of friendship. But then as things grew out, both of them were my friends. She and him, both of them were friends. Somehow, something happened. It does happen among human beings. They are all okay with that. But problem is that they did not tell us. And that hurt each one of us. That's when I really learned that love is not fair at all. What happened? Because of that, I left my course and went in search of a job. The entire gang was broken. Still, that grounds is there in my mind. I don't know why it happened. That is unfair. That love is unfair. Over to you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ellen. And as we have come to your speech, there is another point which I normally tell in the end in do's and don'ts, but because it is more relevant here, I will speak with your speech only. So first, let us understand how Oreo worked here. So he gave a very strong, clear opinion that though people say that everything is fair in love and war, but it is not. In the very start, he cleared his opinion about the topic. Now, please understand that your opinions are never about the situation or the subject. It is about the topic, right? So you might be somebody who is desperately a person who's been totally into love, but if the topic is something which does not relate to you, please be very sure on giving your opinion on that topic. Secondly, what he did was he gave his opinion, he gave a reasoning that something happened because of which this whole scenario happened, and that's where he felt that it was not fair. And he also gave the example between these two people. One thing which probably he could have done better here was to show what has gone wrong, to show the conviction of the topic. If I, as a person, say something happened in the past and because of which I feel love doesn't go with me, what are you as a listener and as a judge feeling is, I don't even know what has happened. How can you say something like that? Right? So always give only those examples in Oreo, because Oreo has a strong opinion in it. Only give those examples which you can share the clear story. Never leave untold stories in Oreo. Though in prep format you can, but Oreo you cannot, right? So that is something which you have to keep in mind. Next, so I have told about the formats: cause and effect, prep, Oreo, right? The three formats which we shared right now. The fourth format is anecdotes. The people who are good readers, or probably somebody who watches lots of news, lots of daily soaps, lots of all these kind of things, Netflix series, everything, they will have loads and loads of anecdotes for the speeches. Now, what these anecdotes do to you is give power to your speech. Because if you have a clear anecdote or a clear solution or points to put in a table topic, you can reduce your story to half of the table topic and give strong connecting points to a particular table topic. But remember that if the table topic talks about your experience, your life journey, something like that, then anecdote method does not work. If somebody comes and tells you a technical topics, what do you think about the political scenario now? Or what do you think about global warming? Or what do you think about kids watching TV? Where you have clear reasoning to give these anecdotes, only in those table topics, you should be using an anecdote format. Because it is very clear where you have to have a story which is directly connecting to these anecdotes. You need to have a very powerful story which directly connects to those anecdotes. However, if you are not a fresher in table topics, once you have understood how a flow of the speech works in table topics, anecdote is your best friend, because that actually divides you from all the other people who are giving the speeches and brings you out as a unique person who is giving a problem statement, who's giving a solution also, right? So if you are an experienced Toastmaster with table topics, you can always go for anecdotes and solutions kind of a format. But if you're a fresher, it might be a little difficult for you to fix in a short story, in a crisp story, and also provide an anecdote together with it. You can always try the format, but a little risky on this. Then the sixth one, which is there, is pros and cons, which I have already told you a bit about. This story format can actually fix into everything. I have tried fixing it to any kind of topic which I have got, right? So even if I get a topic that honesty is best policy, I give two examples, two stories in the same table topic. One which stated the positive side of it, of how being honest really worked for me. And second story told that on the other side, when this particular situation happened, I was honest, but it did not reap out benefits for me. So it's not always a good idea. Now, where can you use pros and cons type of technique is that if you want to support a particular side or you do not want to support any side of it, both the cases you can use pros and cons. If you want to support the pros side, it is always better to convince the audience that you tell both the sides of it and then you take a stand that I personally believe that I will support honesty as the best policy. What this does is very peculiar to any speaker. So listen to this point very, very carefully. As I told you, I'll tell you with these two topics. When we are sitting as listeners or as judges, everybody has a different perception over things, right? And this is something which is going to help you a lot in table topics, which helped me a lot. So the judges and the listeners who are sitting have different perceptions about things in their own life, different experiences, different ideologies which they follow. I personally follow a method where I will always take a side in the end of the topic. So if I have to say whether I support that love is fair or unfair, I will not say in the start. I will start with a story or a pros and cons or an anecdote, whatever I am using. And when I'm about to conclude my table topic, I will say what is my side. This is my style. Everybody has a different style. You might be having a different style which you would want to work on. But I want you to see why I do it. So for example, faith here is from a different religion, a different culture, a different place in society, right? Probably Puneet here is from a different culture, different exposure, different side of the society. And his ideologies, thought processes about, and his experience about one particular subject of love can be very different from probably Navinji, who has seen more world than what Puneet has done. If I directly come and say love is unfair, probably Puneet, who has had an amazing experience about love and a person who has been great to him and supported every part of his, he would say, how can somebody say that? I don't think it's so. And what have I done there is cutting the listener from listening my other 2 minutes of the speech. Same with the judges. When we go and talk to a child, if we say directly, no, don't do this, will the child be even eager to listen what we have to say after that? That's how our listeners and judges are. That is why if you give them a convincing point first that this is why I believe this particular thing, you have actually spoken for the 2 minutes, and that's when you are giving them the reasoning that this is what I believe. And when you are giving this reasoning, Never use words like, yes, love is unfair. Always say, yes, I believe love is unfair. This way, you have also told them that I respect your ideologies and ideas about any topic that you have given me, but this is my outlook towards it, right? So for all the formats which I have told you till now, this thing applies. Oreo, prep, anecdotes, cause and effect, pros and cons, everything. Then comes two of my favorite styles. So this I started trying after a lot of table topics in Toastmasters. The first style, the master style, being devil's advocate. Although it does not work always and on all the topics, and you really need to work hard on convincing somebody on the other side, but it works amazing in the contest if you can do it in a powerful manner. And if you can prove your conviction is right about the topic. So I have who wanted to go for. So Ramanpreet has taken. I have Sobna. Sobna wanted to go for a topic.
Before is Nivera. Before her is
Okay,
Nivera.
so Nivera, you're there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So Nivera, your topic is everything in life needs to change. Everything in life needs to change. But I am giving you the tougher task, because what you have to do is to be the devil's advocate, which means you have to go against the topic which I have given you right now. You cannot speak in favor of this topic.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. Everything in life needs to change. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think God has laid everything and planned everything in our destiny on a silver platter. And I will go by the anecdote ICE. That is inspire, right? We are all have a certain level of intelligence by birth. We have a certain level of education, and we have lots of common sense. So we use all that we have access to, and we can always inspire. Instead of changing, we can probably give inspiration to someone to put in more effort, put in more ideas, and get their thing done. The second one is C, create. When a person is inspired, he will have a certain intellect to create. And I think we all humans are very good in creating. Even a short space in our room, or whatever the decoration is, we can still create something much better out of what we already have our hands on. And the next one is eaglet. E for eaglet. Eaglet needs to soar above everyone. Eaglet needs to rise and soar above. So with this, I think you can help someone to soar and to rise to meet their challenges. Thank you very much. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster.
Okay, although it feels a pleasure to listen to distinguished word, but I am still not a distinguished Toastmaster.
You will be soon.
I hope I become one soon. So, so the topic which was given to Nirvera was all about going against the topic. You know, I wouldn't comment on the evaluation part of it, because that is something which our evaluators will take care of. But what we need to understand is that when we are, normally what happens is in devil's advocate, when we start giving points for our conviction, we sometimes go off the topic. Okay, it is very, very important in devil's advocate or any format to stay with the topic, Because how much ever conviction you show towards proving it, if you are not proving your topic, it is not worth proving at all, right? So that is something, and especially in devil's advocate, because we are continuously thinking in my mind that, oh, I don't have to speak in support, I have to speak against, I have to speak against. So there's a background subject continuously going in our mind. And that's where we tend to go a little away from the topic and then start speaking a conviction. So for example, if I have to speak about topic like this, that in life, everything should change, probably what I would do is, would you want to change your parents? Would you want to change the love of your life? Would you want to change the kind of person you are probably, or you want to be? If no, then do you really think everything in our life needs to change? I am somebody who would never want to change a thing in my life, at least the essential ones. Now, so this is what I have done. I have clearly from the start made them think about the things which are on my side of conviction and the opposite side of topic. What this does in table topics is, especially for devil's advocate and the next technique which I'm going to tell you, what it does is simple. So now when I'm sitting in this room, do you think anybody around this room, or can you see outside this room by any chance? No, right? This is what exactly I will be doing in a table topic. The smaller room you give to people to think beyond, the powerful you are making your speech in those 2 minutes. And especially in concepts like devil's advocate, it becomes even more necessary to first eliminate the positive side which a person might think. Because as a normal psychology, I will think, I have always heard about, yeah, change is the thing which never changes, right? That is the kind of proverb which we have all heard about. But here what I as a speaker am doing is parting this into 2 parts, making them forget the change part and making them remember only the unchangeable part. And that is why I have defined their mindset area, that you think only about these things and not others. So for devil's advocate, always try to reduce the size of the room of imagination which you are giving to that person. I'll explain it to you in a very simple example. So I would request all of you to listen to me very, very carefully of what I am going to do right now. Okay, and this is something which you can apply for other topics also, other formats also, if you've experienced table topics before. So here I say, can you see a man sitting in that scorching heat on a barren land under a green tree with white shirt, blue trousers, a book in his hand, breeze touching his face slowly, but he is lost in his book? What did I do here? I gave you a very clear, vivid imagination of where exactly I want you all to focus. So if I am telling you, I actually started bringing it from here to here. How? I started with a scorching heat. So you imagined a very hot place. Then I called you back to a barren land, which means a small piece of, some land which you could imagine. Not the whole village, not the whole city, not the whole country. From that barren land, I brought you to one tree which is standing somewhere with green leaves. And then from that tree, I got you back to a person who is sitting with a book in his hands, white t-shirt or shirt and blue trousers. So I reduced your area of thinking first in 1 or 2 sentences. Now, whatever I tell you, what is going on in this man's mind will be your only area of focus. So if I go beyond and say, this man is lost in the thoughts of what happened to him yesterday. Though he is reading that book, but his mind is not there. He's about to cry. Probably yesterday was the worst day of his life. Now what I have done is I have brought you down to only yesterday and today, so that you don't know what happened in his life before that. And I brought you down on the emotion, which means you will not be thinking about anger, happiness, excitement, anxiety, any other emotion, but you're thinking about right now is the tears which might fall down from his eyes anytime. So an emotion of sadness. This way I have curbed you in the thinking area and I have curbed you in the mental area of understanding emotion. And that's where I am telling you a story. And this particular thing can be done on any topic. You give me any topic and I can bring you down to the area where I would want you to do. And we will practice that after I give you the last technique, which is my favorite. And who would want to take a topic for that? I think Sobana, sorry if I'm reading the wrong name, it's Sobna. Sobna, you wanted to take a topic? This is the last technique, but a more interesting technique. I love this particular technique because what I'm going to do now is going to be fun. Okay. So this is a topic given by Navin as far as I remember. I will give it back to you, Sobna. The only thing that we learn from history is that we don't learn anything from history. The only thing that we learn from history is that we don't learn anything from history.
Okay.
I can see half of the faces here, and I'll come back to that emotion soon.
That we won't learn anything from it, is it?
I can't repeat the topic because in a contest it is only repeated twice.
Okay. Okay, can I try?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'll try the last technique. So, okay, let's imagine this is, maybe I'll bring you guys to the secondary school of mine. Let's imagine you guys are sitting in a classroom full of 30 students. Okay, everyone has this history book opened on their table, and the history teacher is standing in front of the class, started reading out the textbook and telling you, is exactly reading word by word, you know, from the history. Maybe we talking about the Malaysian history, for example. For 2 years, the last 2 years of our schooling, when I learned history actually with that particular teacher. So I would say with this topic, in that particular scenario, like I learned history, but I didn't actually learn anything from that. We just go through whatever happened in the history, whatever dates they wanted us to memorize for the sake of examinations maybe, and then we were forced to repeat the dates whenever there is a quiz, and that's about it. So learning history never been my cup of tea. You see, so I never liked history subject ever. So even now, if anyone wanted me to look back whatever happened in the past, I would never do that. You know, in life we always need to move forward. We should always think about something like what we are moving towards, you know, our goals or whatever it is. So by looking at our past, I believe that we won't be learning anything. So in line with that topic, only thing we learn from history is that we won't learn anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Sobna. Now coming back to the expressions which most of us had when I told the topic, and that is why this particular format is my favorite. This particular format says is the name is something which has been given by me and from my own learnings is the breakup technique, right? Why I call it a breakup technique is simple because at times the Toastmaster, the table topic master or the contest chair is in a mood of fun. and playing a prank on the contestants. And that is why he will give us a topic which we absolutely don't understand. And by the time he has come to the end of the topic, we will forget what was the start of the topic. This is something which I faced in my division contest. And that is where I understood that I was still left to understand one technique which I applied here. So Sobna did apply this particular breakup technique quite well, I must say. And what this technique talks about is simple. If you have come across a table topic which is either too lengthy or probably something which you don't understand or has a language or words which does not make sense to you, which happens to most of us at least once when you have heard a topic. So what you do is you break that topic into parts and start speaking on the part or a word which makes sense to you. Sobna, can you please unmute yourself? Thank you. So what we do here is, for example, what she did here was, because she did not understand maybe the rest of the topic, or it was too lengthy or complicated for her to understand, she picked up history. That was the word which she connected to. And then she started talking about history. Because remember, it's a contest. Rather than not speaking anything and running away from the contest, you still have chance to gather points on the way you speak, the confidence, the body language, and so many other factors. So never leave that chance anywhere in your contest specifically, even in your regular meetings. Always try a topic. And if you have not understood the topic, pick up any word which you understood and talk about it. Right? So if somebody even gives you a topic on rocket science and you do not understand what is rocket science, you will pick up the word rocket or you will pick up the word science and then you will talk about that particular subject. Sometimes what happens is that while speaking, you slowly understand this topic and you come back to that topic. Probably with the initial anxiety or fear, you might not have heard it clearly, or you might not have been able to gather thoughts then and there, right? So I really hope that these techniques are something which you can practice with different table topics, see which technique fits to your particular style, your kind of orientation, number or reference or anything. So these techniques are PREP, which is point, reasoning, example, and point, where you can have a point. Second is OREO, which is opinion, reason, example, and opinion. Please remember the example in OREO needs to be very, very precise and connecting to the opinion that you are building in. Cause and effect, where you can always share why a thing happened and what was the effect of it. That gives a good emotional connect. Then is, so cause and effect, and then comes the anecdotes. People who are lovely readers or probably into Netflix would have lots of stories and lots of anecdotes to share from your life or something which you have seen. Then comes the pros and cons, where you can always tell a positive side, a negative side of a particular story, and then either take your side or leave it open-ended for people to decide which side they would want to take. And then comes the breakup story, my favorite technique, and the devil's advocate, where you are going against the topic with a very strong conviction that you don't trust in it and very strong examples. But do you all believe that table topics, like any other format, is like a speech? So there are few do's and don'ts that you need to follow, just like a speech. Everybody would have told you that you need to have an opening, body, and closing, a conclusion to your table topic. How many of you have heard this? Raise your hand. That you need an opening, body, and a conclusion. I beg to differ here a bit. Though you do need to have an opening, body, and conclusion, but there is a difference, a very stark difference between a prepared speech and a table topic. Can somebody raise their hand and let me know what that difference is? Other than that table topics are prepared, prepared speeches are prepared, and this is impromptu, that is 7 minutes, this is 2 minutes, not these difference, something unique. I think Navin ji has already heard this. So can somebody else tell it? I think you heard this in one of the sessions, so I remember. Can somebody else think about it?
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, what is a stark difference between table topics, the way table topics is prepared and the way a prepared speech works? Yes, Ravi, you were saying something?
No, I'm not.
Is the difference that there's no call to action?
No, table topics do. I always have a call to action in table topics.
In table topics.
Yeah, I do have a call for action in every table topic I deliver.
So in my opinion, in prepared speech, this is the content you're going to deliver. In table topic, you have so many stories, you don't know which one you're going to deliver and you will fit it accordingly. This is my opinion on it. But I would love to learn from champion Pragya. What is her take on it?
Practically speaking, that is what I do in my prepared speeches also. I only have a broad line and I fit in stories as and when they fit in. So, yeah. No, nobody knows? Okay, it's a very simple explanation. Once I tell it to you, you will be like, oh, it cannot be this simple.
Is it something the close? I'm sorry. Is it the what do you call you have a introduction and an ending, the proper?
Yeah, so you're close to that, but not exactly that. Okay. Let me tell you, and listen to this thing very carefully, because this is going to change the way you look at table topics, because it did for me, probably it might do for you, is that the difference between a prepared speech and a table topic is, in prepared speeches, you decide a conclusion or a takeaway or a context that you would want to speak on, a conclusion or a central idea, right? Whereas in table topics, you have been given the central idea. You have nothing to do with it. Do not apply your brains finding a central idea there. That is the central idea. You just have to weave the story around the topic. That is your conclusion. That is your takeaway. That is your central idea. It has been given to you on a platter. So all that hassle of finding what should I speak on has been given to you already. And that is why table topics is the most easiest thing for, once I understood this particular thing, I understood that it is the most important, easiest format in it. And secondly, few people think, so now I am again coming back to the mindset part, which is the conclusion part. Few people think that, I should not probably speak this. Somebody might not agree to it. They might not like it. In table topics, there's nothing like that. There is not your way. There is not my way. Everybody has a different way of looking at a particular topic, because everybody has a different story of life. So probably the way you look at the table topic, I am okay as a judge to accept it. And that is why I have taken the judge's role there. So when you go with it, do not go with the fear that I might not be telling the right story. That's your right story, perfectly beautiful and right? And also remember that do have a personal story, because one of my mentors told me when I was writing my first or second speech, she told me, why have you written down philosophy? Don't I have Google or internet to go and read all the philosophy of why probably love is good, or why honesty is good, or why the world is good? I will go and read it on Google. Why will I listen it from you again and again? So tell me something which you have experienced, why you believe in it, is what is your story, and then I will listen to you. But there is a trick here. A lot of people come up to me and say, I don't get a story for every topic. It hasn't happened in my life. How do I tell a story? Everything in the world must not be a part of my life, right? I have a pretty simple life. But trust me, when you're telling a story, it is only you who knows that the story is true or made up. So never fear that, oh, I am telling somebody else's story with my name, probably people will get to know. If you believe that people will get to know, they will get to know, otherwise they will not. I, as a listener, perfectly believe that it is your story. So go ahead with it. And last but not the least, we have around, so 2 minutes come to around 180 seconds to deliver your table topic. What I normally do is that have a powerful start for the initial 10 seconds. It can be directly getting into the story. It can be using a quote, or it can be greetings, which is not more important, but it is always better to start with a topic. Then after 10 to 20 seconds, I go back to the body of my speech, which will be somewhere around 60 to 70, 80 seconds, depending on what is your this thing. And after that, for 20 seconds, I will be delivering the conclusion. Now, if you sum it up all, I told we have 180 seconds, but I have only given you time to 130 seconds. Why? Anybody has an answer? I've told around 120 seconds, whereas the actual time we get is 2 minutes 30 seconds, which is 180 seconds, right? Now, this is where you are going to apply your mind and tell me where are the other seconds gone.
Other seconds are in the stories, what we are going to share.
I've already told the seconds for the story.
The audience reaction.
No. Okay.
Organizing your thought.
Sorry?
Organizing your thoughts.
No. That is something which I'm doing in the first 20 seconds. Okay. In lieu of time, because I have already got the red timer for me also, I would not want to overshoot. The 30 seconds is gone in the pace that you have of speaking. If I am somebody who is a fast speaker, might finish off the same story, the same context in lesser number of times. That is why I might need more length in the story. Whereas if you are a slow-paced speaker, keep your stories according to your pace. Do not try to fix in a longer story, because then you will overshoot time. So with this, I will come to the end of everything which I knew and I have shared with you. And I really, really hope that I was able to bring you to my side a bit and reduce your fear of public speaking. Next time you go to your boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, kids, try creating stories. It's a lot of fun. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pragya. It was a great session that we have learned very much about the table topic session. I really thankful to you, and also I request every member to please unmute your microphone and give a big round of applause for Pragya. Now we have come to the third segment of the meeting, that is evaluation segment. Before that, I request timer to please give your report, timing report.
Okay, so the timers report for the table topic segment. First speaker, Jyoti, 1 minute 38 seconds. Second speaker, Ramapreet, 1 minute 49 seconds. Third speaker, Anglovan, 1 minute 49 seconds. Fourth speaker, Niveria, 2 minute 5 seconds. And the last speaker, Swapna, 2 minute 11 seconds. So all qualify for voting.
Yeah, thank you, timer. And I request Zoom master to please send the voting link in chat.
Can you see the link and the QR code? Can you use either one of them? Can everyone type? If you have some difficulty, just send me the name of the person you think has spoken well to me directly in the chat. I only got four responses. I'm sure you can add more. Okay, while this is going on, could I request the Toastmaster of the day to continue?
Yeah, thank you, Brahmakumar, sir. Now we can move to the third segment of the meeting, that is evaluation segment. I request for the first evaluator, DTM Jyoti, to evaluate the first speaker, Adeline's speech. Over to you, Jyoti. DTM Jyoti, you can unmute your microphone. Okay.
Yes. About that. Full speech. I think you deserve a big round of applause. What I really like is like your story was.
Can you all hear Jyoti properly?
The way.
Jyoti, you're in slow motion.
Sorry. Okay.
You need to do something.
The speech.
Speak from there.
I'm audible now. Is it clear now?
Yes, please carry on.
Okay. Thank you, Adeline, for such a memorable and wonderful speech. I think you deserve a very big round of applause for that. I'm sure everyone will now remember this 4-letter word. I really like the way like you have shared your incidents of failure and taking them as a lesson to grow further. Sorry, all your examples from your school to that other incident where you took 7 years to accept your failure. I think overall I think the message also was very clear in your speech, and I really like the ending also. That was very, very lively and very impactful too. So actually, I'm very raw to the evaluation, but if I would like to suggest something, then I would like to suggest you to add some voice modulations when you are sharing your personal stories, so that it can have a little more liveliness and it can connect little better too. But overall, I really like the way you have accepted the challenge of taking the word fail and then using your stories and then bringing out that very easy connecting messages to all of us. That's all I think I can suggest. Otherwise, your speech was a wonderful speech. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, thank you, Jyoti, for your evaluation. Next, I would like to call the second evaluator, Toastmaster Mati Gazan, to evaluate the second speaker, Ravi Shankar. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster of the day. So I would like everyone to give the standing ovation to the Toastmaster Ravi, who has completed. I will also congratulate him for the icebreaker speech. Yeah, icebreaker is a daunting challenge because it is our first speech and it's vulnerable, but you nailed it. And you got started the speech with a very casual, and you also agreed that you are not prepared. It is going to be impromptu. I thanks for it. And also you and also and and also I can also like the visualize your management career, how you did the learnings and the challenges and how you are overcoming it and overcoming it. And my commentations on your speech, like, so I liked your way, like how you are, handling your customers. Like whenever we are talking to him and we got to talk like the 30 feet level of the project level, we got to talk, not the nut and bolt. So that you got very well structured speech you got delivered in the icebreaker, and also you got attempted here, with the more confidence, and it is more confident, and also like the you more confidence, and you got given you more confidence, and you got given a icebreaker with icebreaker as the impromptu, and you got provided all the points, so whatever you want to deliver in your icebreaker. So kudos on that. And I liked kudos on that, and I liked the some of the phrases like the rewire your brain, and how to improve like every time. So those are the things I liked, the way you go delivered your speech. And my recommendations for your speech, like you got to stand and you got to talk whenever you are delivering the speech, and also you got to use the more on the hand gestures while delivering it, so which would help to connect with the better connections with the audience. So that is the one. And whenever you are delivering the speech, and so you got delivering the speech, you got to practice and come for the speech to deliver, so that will give the more the valuable to your speech. So that is the recommendations I want to say. And this is the icebreaker speech, and I was expecting your college stuff and also the personal steps, so that would add the sweetness to on the speech, but it is missing. But I enjoyed thoroughly your speech. And so yeah, thoroughly your speech, and in the sum thoroughly your speech, and in the summary I would enjoy your I would in the summary I in the summary and in the summary, I enjoyed your thoroughly your speech on your management career, on your learnings and the challenges, and how you have overcome to better place in the everyday in your management career. And so thank you for it. And yeah, thank you for it. And I want to say, like, all the very best for your future speeches. And like the twinkle twinkle little star, you will be the shining star on your Toastmaster speeches and also your management career going forward. So all the very best. Back to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Matikajan. Now I will call the senior Toastmasters to evaluate the table topic session. That is Navin Power and DTM Brahmakumar sir. Over to you.
Yeah, Toastmaster Brahmakumar, can you do your section first? It'll just take me 2 minutes to get ready. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
You may first begin. Yep.
As you have already listened to a wonderful speaker sharing her knowledge of how to partake in a Toastmasters table topic session, I will only cover those areas that she did not focus on. She focused mainly on the techniques and how each speaker followed the technique. I will look at the delivery. Now, if you're taking part in the contest, number one, don't sit and talk. You will lose points. That's the first thing you need to talk. Second thing is that in the contest, it's judging, it's not evaluation. Judges are, for want of a better word, are merciless. So everything you do counts. Put on or quote. In other words, dress your best as if you're going to a wedding or the most important ceremony in your life. Number three, if you listen to Pragya, the way she started, the way she talks continues, there are two things that you can remember. The first few seconds and the last few seconds, they are very important. So if you start in a very normal tone, you already lost because you did not capture the attention of the judges. So your start must be like a fireworks or so. If you're taking about a topic and that you don't agree, let me look at the topic. The only thing in history is that you don't learn anything. And you want to be the devil's advocate, which is to go against the topic, right? So you say, of course, I didn't learn anything. Ask me what was the history of London, I can't remember. Ask me about the history of India, I can't remember. Ask me about the history of China, I can't remember. Because we were not studying the history, we were just studying to get scores in exams. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is what has happened to our educational system. We are all like digits, people ready to go into the factory. And we end up remembering facts just to regurgitate them in an exam. After that, we forget. Now, is that the purpose of education? And if you go like that, you see, you create an awareness, you create a connection with the audience. So that is important. And then when you end, have a strong punchline. Go back to the topic itself and finish it. So these three things, the attire, standing up to speak, and having an impact at the beginning and the end is what I would suggest every speaker to focus on, especially when you take part in contests. As it gets to the higher level, it gets even more competitive. So you have to be even more confident and practice your voice at home. A simple way is just to record your voice and listen to it, or go to the Zoom, take any topic that you know, even those that you have taken today, go back and speak on them. Listen to yourself, watch yourself. At first, it might be like watching a nightmare movie, but over time, you'll get over it. Because what you see is what others are seeing. If you can't feel comfortable with your own skin in terms of wearing a long sleeve tie, a coat, and so forth for men, and for ladies, of course, a tie, your hair tied down, some makeup to make you look glam and all that. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then how will the audience and the judges feel? So you have to show to them that you are comfortable, you are confident, and you are the king or queen of the stage. And those are the people who always win. It is the delivery that is more important than the content, because that's what attracts everyone towards you. So these are my points. I can now hand over to Navin. Over to you, Navin.
Thank you, DTM Brahmakumar. Sorry, at that time I was busy. That's why I had to change the order. All right. Okay, so friends, it was a wonderful session today. And as regarding the evaluation, since Pragya had evaluated all the four evaluators, all the speakers who spoke for table topic, so hence I would not be evaluating them because of course it doesn't make sense to evaluate someone who's already been evaluated. But I would just like to share on some of the learnings from today's session, which Toastmaster Pragya had given today, and they were wonderful learnings. That is, of course, one of the best thing was to know the difference between a prep and Oreo, because that was a new thing for me as well, because I was always under the assumption that they both are the same. But however, in case of Oreo approach, that is opinion, reason, example, and opinion, that is to give a strong point. And I mean to highlight or substantiate with a strong point that makes a lot of difference. All right, so that was a wonderful session, and there was now Toastmaster Pragya is not here right now at the moment. She had to leave because she had another session just in about next 5 minutes, so she had to leave a bit early. But nevertheless, I can see that there are certain questions which are asked, which I might try to take up. That is how to tune your brain to think quickly, and our brain needs to race to weave the story around the table topic. All right, ask if someone can help. If there's we should follow to weave. Okay, this was asked by Toastmaster Ravi Shankar. Okay, Toastmaster Pragya, would you like to answer this?
No, it's fine, Navin, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, this is a very important technique which a lot of champions do use. That is how to weave a topic around a topic which is given. And like as also Toastmaster Pragya had mentioned, and that's what even I do. I also do a lot of times. I use it generally for some humorous quotes to engage the audience. Generally, I've got about 4 or 5 jokes or humorous lines or punch lines, however you may call it. And I tend to begin with them or end with them so that you can end with a bang, or start with a bang and get audience's attention. So probably this makes a lot of difference that is in order to really create an impact. Just for an example, there was I think one topic which was asked, that love is unfair today. Yeah, love is unfair. So probably, like in this, I would have given there are a lot of different types of examples which can be given in this. That is, for example, for example, let's say when a girl loves a man, it's only the girl who knows, and the men, they do not know about it, or the guys do not know about it. But when a guy loves a girl, all the guys know about it, but the girl doesn't know about it. So so just an example, these type of examples can be given to really create an impact or to engage an audience whenever you are actually delivering any topic, and weave a story. The same thing can be done with the story as well. Have some proper stories which you may relate to them, and do it. Yep. Over to you, Toastmaster Pragya. Would you like to add anything?
Just a difference which I found, most of us think that it is extremely important to start with greetings, and that gives us time. But trust me, there are absolutely no marks in the contest for greetings and no greetings, because in my division and district, both the contests, I did not greet anybody. I just said a simple good morning all. That's it. I did not say chief judge, judges. They know that you are using that time to think. Somebody who's sitting, because how I understood table topics was, first I started taking table topic evaluations, the judges judging basically, and then I went to participate into the contest, because I first wanted to know how am I being marked. So if anybody of you here who would really wish to go for a contest, become a judge first. The kind of mindset change you will have there is going to be multifold, and you will exactly know where to kick at it and get the points there. So that is one thing. And for the stories, the best way which I have, one is which I have already written in the message, you all can read there. And the second way which I have tried is, so for example, if somebody can just throw a topic here, I'll give you a short idea on how you can do it. Anybody who would want to just give a small topic. I'll tell you a beginning of what differences it makes.
I'll do that.
Yes, sir.
A bit lengthy. Never trouble till trouble troubles you. Never trouble till trouble troubles you.
Right. So what I am doing here is, there are two options for me. One is to either go with the standard format of good morning one and all, and yes, I totally believe that we should not trouble till the time it troubles me. We should leave it as and when they are. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. Second way of doing it, how many of you have always been troublemakers? How many of you remember doing things where you did not need to put your hands, but you still did? Because that gave you an adrenaline rush, that gave you excitement, that gave you the new thing. So what these two things have done is, first, I did not greet anybody here. I just bang on started with questioning you as a person in my shoes right now. And I immediately pulled you to me. That, are you one of those? Are you one of these? And I created excitement that I'm really happy about the topic which I am getting. So if you can from now on try that, do not actually greet people. Sometimes what we do is we want to instantly start as soon as we have got a topic. But remember, we get 10 seconds to think. Rather than giving greetings and letting everybody know that you're thinking, it's okay, relax, calm down, think, and it's perfectly fine. There is no marks cutting for you thinking in those 10 seconds. Don't get scared about it, and that is given to you. They know we are human. Not all of us are parents, right? So they know others are human too. So just try to create an excitement with the same word. So trouble was the word here, whatever comes to your mind. Maybe your troublesome husband, maybe your troublesome neighbor or a maid or anybody. You can start with that. And that will also help you to weave a story better, because that you know that I have to go in this one track. And second dreaded mistake which we all do is changing tracks. I started with some story, I went to some story, and I ended at some third story. Don't do that. Even if the story is right or wrong, it's like a wife. If she's right, she's right. If she's wrong, say sorry, but still she's right. So just take it as that take the take which you have taken and never change it, because I never do it with my husband. Even if I get to know I am wrong, I will still agree that I was right. Right? So whatever topic you have taken, just speak on that one story. Do not change stories and tracks in between. Okay?
All right. Toastmaster of the day, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, general evaluator and table topic evaluator and whatever topic facilitator.
Oh, there will be no evaluation for the evaluators.
We can move to the grammarian report. I request. Okay, shall we ask accountant?
Accountant, I'll do it later because with my closing speech, the accountant has left. So you can go to the grammarian.
Yeah, grammarian. Bhavna, please present your report. Over to Bhavna.
First, tell me, may I audible and visible properly? If
Yeah.
I please show the thumbs up. Thank you so much for giving me this space. So, first of all, I would like to say big thank you for inviting me in this space, and that I have learned so many things from you, from especially Pragya. I have learned so many things how to perform impromptu sessions. Thank you so much for inviting me in this session, and I have learned the word which you have spoken in your speeches. So there are so many words which I like that which you have spoken in the meeting. That word, the phrase from the push, come across, bring out, reception, eliminate, my cup of tea, and venerable. There are some words which I like that, and I wrote in my notebook. And the word of the day was protect, and there are many people were you many people use the word of the day protect, and those people who do not use that, I request please use in upcoming when you the when your turn will come, please speak the word of the day protect. And there are some grammatical mistakes which I would like to tell you that. First one is other people speak. So here other people speak. There was a speaker who said that other people speak. So if you are talking about the singular person in this, you say other people is other. If you are talking about the plural thing, so you need to say other people will speak. Do not use S A E S here. Most of the people said that the stage is over to you. So we can't say this stage is over to you. We say like this, back to you. And we can say there are so many phrases, the stage is yours. So please do not say over to you. What you are saying over to you. Don't use this thing. Please make it remember. And the second word, the one speaker said that I studying in college. Instead of saying this, you could say like this, when I was in college. At this, one person was making mistaken pronunciation. So there was a word visualization. The person was speaking something else. I'm not able to speak in a correct way. So correct pronunciation is visualization. Okay. So I noticed that you all were speaking very well, but just you need to listen to yourself. When you speak, listen to yourself as I do. And as a speaker, one of speakers said that try to listen yourself and try to record. When you listen, when you listen yourself, you will overcome this kind of thing. And most of the people were using and instead of using and you could use uh, some of uh, some of some of words which are like this conjunction, like moreover, in order to decide. If we use, we can make our language better. And I believe that if a member of Toastmaster Club, you all read, please make a habit to read any book which you would like to read. In this, you could improve over it. At the end, I would say sorry for that. I forgot the time, what the time is this, the meeting. That just call me up and please come to the meeting. And I apologize for that. I hope you will forgive me. So that stage is yours. They were talking. That TMO.
Yeah. Thank you, Bona, for your grammarian report. Now I request accounter to present a report. Tiana, please unmute your microphone.
Krisha, are you able to do it or do you want me to do it? I think she can't. Oh, okay, never mind. I'll take over. Okay, for Jodi, you have a tendency to say words like so, a, right, okay. Consider cutting down on some of them. For Adeline, tendency to say so, oh, right, and a high usage of so. That. Navin, this is your first time you're speaking, so there was a lot of well, so, you know, yeah, and all that. Over time, you would be able to be more conscious of them and cut down on them. Madhi, you mentioned words like so, and a high rate of would focus on cutting down those. Table topic facilitator also had words like and, so, and okay. And so she should cut down on that. Because the Toastmaster of the day, because he speaks most, has a tendency to use words like okay, yeah, and a. That's it.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brahmakumar sir. Next, I would request timer to give the timing report. 4 to 5 p.m.
Okay, timer's report for the evaluation. For Toastmaster Jyoti, she took 2 minutes 16 seconds. Second evaluator Marty took 3 minutes 23 seconds. So within time. As for the voting results, I believe it's with Brahmakumar, right? Yeah.
I will share. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had a wonderful meeting today. The focus was on table topics so that we could learn some techniques from an expert. Because my definition of an expert is what I learned, which is someone who knows more and more about less and less. Because as time goes on, you find that there's still even more to learn. And today we learned quite a number of tricks, techniques, how to approach a table topic, especially the contest. We got tips from Navin and myself, as well as Pragya, who was a district finalist. Keep this in mind. Pragya has also shared her contact number. If you need that, you can also approach me and I can link you up with her. It's good for you to visit a few clubs across the globe that are having contests so that you get an idea of how different speakers handle or tackle table topics. And over time, you can also be one of the winners. It's just a matter of time. Table topics is one of the easiest to master. Similar for evaluation. The challenging one is the international speech, because that's where you have to put in a lot of effort, because your opponents will also be putting in a lot of effort. And now we come to the wonderful session of knowing who are our heroes and heroines of today. First of all, let us applaud Ravi for doing his first speech. The icebreaker speech is a very important speech in the journey of a Toastmaster, and he has very bravely come forward and handled it. Thank you, Ravi. We hope to listen to more speeches from you. Next, we thank Bhavna for coming from all the way from India to be the grammarian and to share nuggets of information with us. Pragya is not here, but we sincerely thank her for taking the time and to go in depth into each of the techniques. If you notice, she was practicing more on sharing the techniques rather than making us practice. If we could have given her more time, probably she would have gone into more topics. And the best table topic speaker was Ramanpreet. Ramanpreet, for those of you who are not aware, she has completed all the 11 pathways, and every speech of hers, whenever she delivers, it's good. She puts in a lot of effort. One thing she keeps on saying to everyone is stand up when you're speaking. She has never sit down to deliver a speech at all. Before we didn't do role players, and this is Ramanpreet for those of you who may have forgotten her. So these are the three main ones. For the rest of the appointment holders who came from overseas, I shall be sending you a certificate individually. It is a practice in Chingsan to appreciate those, especially those who come from overseas, to come to our club and spend a time, especially on a Sunday evening. Right. And for those of you who took part in the table topic session, I hope you really learned a lot. The only way you can become better at table topics is to keep on going for it. Everywhere you go, just go and be the first one. You can't be the first one, be the second one. Always volunteer for table topics. Your confidence level will improve, and over time, you will find that you can go anywhere and just handle the problem. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, just handle it. Because as Pragya has shared, there are many techniques. Some of it will work for us, some won't work for us. Depends on the topic and the approach it is. If it is a pros and cons, then you must be in the frame of mind to approach it as a pros and cons. If it's something that is asking for your personal opinion, for example, if I give a topic like, what if? This topic itself can be taken by many people and many perspectives. So at that moment, you need to come with a certain frame of mind, certain approach that will win the hearts of the judges and the audience. Win the hearts of the audience, it's very simple. Grab them by a hook at the beginning and end with the fireworks at the end. For the judges, they will also look at how the audience are responding to you. So that's very important. Our next meeting will be in November. I will share the dates later, and I look forward. For those of you who are from other clubs, feel free to invite us also to your club so that we can also learn from the experts in your club. And with that, I end today's session. Thanks a lot, everyone, for coming and joining at Chingsan Toastmasters Club. May you have a wonderful time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye, everyone.